Hello, everyone. Welcome to English Flow Podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm William. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Let me start with a question. Have you ever wanted to say something in English, but then stopped and thought, wait, do I speak to this person or do I talk to them?
Or maybe someone said, "Can I speak with you?" And you wondered, why didn't they say talk? Is there a difference? Does it matter?
If those questions have ever crossed your mind, today is your day.
Because today we are diving into two words that look almost identical, feel almost identical,
But are actually used in very different situations.
speak and talk.
And by the end of this episode, you will know exactly when to use each one, without stopping, without doubting, without freezing.
No grammar stress, no long, boring rules.
Just real English, real life, real conversation, which is exactly what this podcast is all about.
If you are new here, welcome to English Flow Podcast. We are so glad you found us.
Subscribe so you never miss an episode. And now,
Let's speak about this. Or should we say, let's talk about this?
and we have already started. Let's go.
Okay, so before we get into examples, let's just feel the difference. Because I think the best way to learn these two words is not through definitions, but through feeling.
Completely agree. So let's close our eyes for a moment. Imagine someone standing at a podium, a stage, hundreds of people in the audience. Silence.
The person opens their mouth and begins.
Are they speaking or talking?
They are speaking, almost definitely.
Now, imagine two old friends sitting at a small cafe, coffee in hand, laughing, leaning in close, sharing stories.
Are they speaking or talking?
They are talking, absolutely.
And did you feel the difference, even before I explained anything?
That feeling is the key. Speak has a certain formality to it, a certain distance, a certain weight.
And talk is warmer, more casual, more two-sided, more like a real exchange between people.
That is not the whole story, but it is the heart of it. And once you hold on to that feeling, everything else starts to make sense.
Speak, formal, one direction, weight and distance.
Talk, casual, two directions, warmth and connection.
Let's explore both of them now, one at a time.
Let's start with speak, and I want to begin with the most classic use, languages.
Yes, when we talk about the ability to use a language, we almost always use speak.
Do you speak English? Do you speak French? She speaks 3 languages fluently.
You would never really say, "Do you talk English?" It just sounds wrong, unnatural.
And this is one of the clearest rules in the whole speak versus talk world. Language ability, always speak.
I speak English, he speaks Arabic, they speak both Spanish and Portuguese.
Now, another very important use of speak, formal or one-sided communication.
Like a speech, a presentation, an announcement.
The professor will speak to the students at the ceremony. The CEO spoke at the conference. The president is going to speak on television tonight.
In all of these situations, one person is delivering information. There is an audience. The communication flows in one direction.
And speak fits perfectly there. It carries that sense of authority, importance, formality.
Now, here's something interesting. Speak is also used in polite or professional requests, even in conversations between just two people.
For example, could I speak with you for a moment? May I speak to the manager, please? I need to speak with you privately.
Notice how formal those sound. You would say these things in a workplace, in a serious situation, when something important needs to be addressed.
And there is a reason for that. Speak keeps a little distance, a little professionalism, a little gravity.
It signals this is serious, this matters.
Another common use of speak, talking about communication in general. often without a specific person mentioned. For example, actions speak louder than words.
That is one of the most famous phrases in English, and it uses speak because it is talking about communication in a broad, almost philosophical sense.
Or, the results speak for themselves. Again, a general, slightly formal, slightly powerful expression.
Speak has that power, that weight.
Now, listeners, think of a time when you needed to say something serious to someone, something important, something formal.
That feeling, that is speak.
Now, let's move to talk. And honestly, talk is the word I use about 90% of the time in daily life.
Same, because most of our communication is informal, relaxed, two-sided.
And talk lives in that space perfectly.
So let's start with the most natural use, everyday conversation between two or more people.
Me and my friend talked for hours last night. We were talking about our plans for the weekend. Can we talk later?
Notice the energy, relaxed, equal, back and forth.
Both people are involved. Both are speaking. Both are listening. It is an exchange.
And that two-sided quality is very important to talk. When you talk to someone, or better yet, talk with someone, there is a dialogue happening.
A real human connection.
Now here's something very useful to know. Talk is almost always followed by about when you name the topic.
We talked about the movie. They are talking about politics. Let's talk about your future plans.
You can say speak about too, but in daily conversation, talk about sounds much more natural.
Unless you are in a very formal setting, a conference, an academic discussion.
Right. In everyday life, talk about. In a boardroom presentation, speak about.
Now, let's look at some very common phrases with talk. Talk is cheap, meaning it is easy to say things, but what matters is what you do.
Small talk. Light, casual conversation about everyday topics. The weather, the weekend, your journey to work.
We make small talk at parties, in elevators, before meetings begin.
And this is interesting. We say make small talk, not do small talk or have small talk.
English and its combinations, always keeping us on our toes.
Another great one, heart-to-heart talk. A deep, honest, emotional conversation between two people who trust each other.
I had a heart-to-heart talk with my mom last night. It really helped.
That is talk at its warmest, its most human.
And then there is talk someone through something when you guide a person step by step.
Can you talk me through this process? She talked him through the whole application.
You are walking beside someone with your words. That is beautiful, actually.
Talk is a warm word. It wraps around people.
It connects them.
Okay, let's put them directly next to each other now, because I know this is the moment where things really click.
Let's do it.
Can I speak to you for a moment versus can we talk for a moment?
Both are fine, but the first one, speak, sounds more formal, more serious, like something important is coming.
The second one, talk, sounds more relaxed, like a friend checking in.
We spoke at the conference versus we talked at the conference.
We spoke suggests you gave a presentation or addressed an audience. We talked suggests you had a side conversation, maybe during a break.
She speaks 4 languages versus she talks 4 languages.
Only the first one is correct. Language ability, always speak.
I need to speak with the doctor versus I need to talk to the doctor.
Both are acceptable here, but speak with the doctor sounds slightly more formal, slightly more urgent. Talk to the doctor sounds more everyday, like a normal appointment conversation.
They talked for hours versus they spoke for hours. Both work, but talked for hours feels warmer, like friends who couldn't stop sharing. Spoke for hours sounds a little more formal, like a debate or a lecture.
See how the feeling shifts? Same basic meaning, but a different temperature.
Speak is cooler, more professional, more official.
Talk is warmer, more personal, more human.
And knowing which temperature the moment needs, that is real English fluency.
All right, let's talk about mistakes, because this is the part that makes everyone a little nervous, but it really shouldn't.
Mistakes are just learning in disguise.
Beautifully said. Okay, the most common mistake I hear is this. People say, I want to talk English better.
And you can feel something is slightly off, right? The correct phrase is, I want to speak English better, or I want to improve my English speaking.
Because English is a language, and language ability lives with speak.
Another one. The teacher talked to the whole class about the exam results. Is that right?
It is acceptable, but spoke to the whole class sounds more natural in that setting because a teacher addressing a whole classroom is a slightly formal, one-directional act.
Spoke to the whole class. One person, one audience.
Now this one is interesting. Can you speak me through this?
Yes. People mix this one up. The correct phrase is talk me through this, not speak me through. Talk through is a fixed phrase in English. It belongs to talk.
Talk me through the steps. Talk her through the process. You guide someone with warm, step-by-step words. That is talk.
And one more. We spoke about everything last night. It was such a good speak.
I've heard this one. The problem is at the end. Good speak is not natural. The noun form we use is talk. We had such a good talk last night, not a good speak.
Talk works as both a verb and a noun very naturally. Speak as a noun is less common in everyday English.
So we had a long talk. We need to have a talk. That was a really good talk.
All natural, all correct.
And remember, noticing these things is the biggest part of fixing them. You are already ahead just by listening to this episode.
Let's bring these words into some real moments now, real-life situations where you will actually need them.
Situation 1. You are at work. Your manager sends you a message and says, "Could you speak with me in my office at 3?"
That is speak. Formal, private. Something important is on the agenda.
You feel it immediately, right? That little flutter of, oh, what does she want to talk about?
Every time.
Now, situation 2. You are at a family dinner. Your cousin leans over and says, "Hey, can we talk later? I have some news."
That is talk. Personal, intimate. The news could be exciting or serious, but the word talk keeps it human and warm.
Situation 3. You are watching the news. The Prime Minister is scheduled to speak at the United Nations tomorrow.
Speak. Formal setting. A world stage. One person addressing many.
Situation 4. 2 friends on the phone late at night.
I'm so glad you called. I really needed someone to talk to.
Talk. Emotional. Informal. The need for human connection.
And situation 5, a language class. The teacher says, "Today we are going to practice speaking English in pairs."
Speaking. Because in a language learning context, the skill of using a language, that is always speak.
5 situations, 5 moments, and in each one, the word that belongs there just feels right.
That is what we want for you, not a rule you have to remember.
But a feeling you carry naturally.
We are reaching the end of today's episode. And before we go, let's bring everything together one last time.
Speak. Use it for language ability, formal situations, official communication, and one-directional delivery. It has weight. It has distance. It has formality.
Talk.
Use it for everyday conversations, casual exchanges, emotional connections, and two-sided dialogue. It has warmth, it has closeness, it has humanity.
And the most beautiful thing? Both words are yours now.
You do not have to choose one over the other. You just have to feel the moment.
Is this formal or casual? Is this one person addressing many or two people connecting? Is this about a language skill or a human conversation?
Ask those questions and the right word will come.
And even if sometimes you choose the wrong one, it is okay. People will understand you, and every time you notice and correct, you grow.
Language is not about perfection. It is about practice. It is about courage. It is about showing up and trying.
And you are doing exactly that, right now, in this moment, by listening to this podcast.
So thank you, genuinely, for being here, for learning, for flowing.
If this episode helped you today, please share it with a friend who is also learning English. Let's build this community together.
And subscribe to English Flow Podcast so we can keep growing together, one episode, one word, one conversation at a time.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm William.
Keep flowing.